It's another episode of our 5-10 cash game, Poker Time. These guys have been playing for a few hours already. If you want to see those hands in action, just go back and look on our YouTube channel.
And if you can't figure out how to do that, I don't know how you even got here.
Yeah.
So
We're not gonna,
Mamba's going to open in the small blind. We're not going to. You're right.
He's just going to call, actually.
Well, yeah, he's going to open the action by calling out of the small blind. It is a button straddle, meaning the small blind acts first. That is not mandatory, but they do it a lot.
Indeed.
Calling with Jack-8 suited out of the small blind is probably a money-losing play over time in a button straddle situation unless you have a huge post-flop edge.
Well, Mama's going to find out if he does.
Yep.
Because whatever happens in this hand is going to tell us everything. Good spot for Aldi, though, with position, ace-queen, and the lead. The betting lead, I mean. Well.
Well, what, Jonathan?
Well, I saw the jack
You
and
saw the
thought,
jack and got
thought
all
Aldi
excited.
was outflopped.
You got to wait for all the votes to be counted, Jonathan.
Did Aldi just bet 150 into 190? That's pretty big.
For a dry board, ace high, it feels like this is a board that you bet like a third pot. I agree.
Certainly a little, I would think half pot or less. If Mamba just folds here, I mean, can you really just fold for one bet? You got a diamond also. I probably got to call once, but he lets it go.
I get it as an exploit. Like, it's possible that Aldi has some in his pre-flop range, 9s, 10s type hands, but is he really going to bet those on that flop? A lot of the time, players will check that hand on that flop.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder what Aldi's trying to get value out of there. I guess just worse aces.
Yeah, like ace 10.
Yeah. Ace 10 probably has to call at least once.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it?
That makes sense. I just think it's probably a better idea to try to get value from more hands than that.
I agree. Looks like we're moving right into a bomb pot here, Grant. And
Well, I wasn't prepared for that.
well, I'm setting you up. Look, we're moving into it. It's going to be another like 20 seconds or so.
I have
Don't
to do
worry.
my meditations.
Okay, go ahead. I will tell everyone what a bomb pot is for the new viewers. Bomb pot is, of course, where you ante up and everyone gets their cards, and we go right to the flop. So there's going to be $80 in the pot, and everyone sees the flop. Also, it's Omaha, and we're doing 2 boards. So a lot going on.
It's kind of hard to meditate when you have to try to calculate the bottom board when the RFID reader isn't actually set up to
Yeah,
do the bottom board.
but no one cares about our sob stories, Grant.
No, they do. People ask me all the time, "Hey, Grant, you got a sob story for me?"
Well,
And
here
I'm
we
like,
go.
"Yeah, well, one time I had to commentate on a double board bomb pot."
Here we go. First board. King 4-3-2 clubs.
And they're like, "My entire family died in the war." And I'm like, "But I had the double board bomb pot that I had to commentate on."
Of course, the other board is Queen, Jack, Deuce with 2 spades, and we can't see anyone's hand yet, but here we go. We go with all the spades. He's got bottom 2 and a bad spade draw. Mustache with the nut flush draw, and a Broadway draw on the bottom board anyway.
And top.
Top 2, actually.
Top 2, yeah.
Okay,
Mustache
so
is
he's
a
got
monster.
That's a big hand.
He doesn't want to have the third spade in his hand, but he'll take it. It's fine.
Yep. See if anyone else. Mamba with top and bottom on the bottom board.
It's not really a hand that
He's got a gut shot on the top board.
It's not a great spot for Mamba.
It's only $20.
Yeah.
That's the reason to call. It's so cheap, you can try and realize some equity.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3 ways to the turn. The king of clubs, queen of diamonds.
So Mustache is locked up the top.
Mamba made a full house, queens full of deuces on the bottom.
So did Danny.
So did Danny. And we're going to see if anyone can hit their kicker, basically.
So Mamba might quarter these guys or third them or whatever.
Seems likely. I don't know that we're going to see any raises here.
But Mamba, I meant Mustache.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if Danny R and Mamba end up chopping the bottom board, they're going to lose some money in this from here on out. Danny ends up raising, though. Does Danny have anything going on the other board?
No.
He's
well, got a
open-ended.
3, and he's got a 3.
He's open-ended up top.
Yeah.
But
I know there's 3 clubs, and it's a paired board.
oh, he's got a flush. He has the queen high flush.
Oh, how did we miss that?
Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's no good.
Yeah.
But he's thinking, I've got a full house on one board. I've got the second up flush on the other.
I guess it's not horrible.
It's
The problem is that you could be losing on both boards still. Like, especially against 2 players. Against 1 player, maybe this makes more sense. Against 2, you might be losing on both boards.
Look how well this ends up working out, though. He folds out the chopping hand,
Yeah.
so now he can't get quartered.
Well, now we're probably just going to end up chopping the pot unless somehow Danny folds because the bottom gets worse for him.
Mustache with the nuts up top and a big draw on the bottom, although it's no good, decides to just call. He could put in the re-raise, but maybe he's thinking the nuts is a shared potential nuts up top. King 4 could be out there, of course, for his opponent as well, and then he could be getting quartered himself.
Oh, he makes the nut flush on the bottom.
He's got a really big hand here.
He should, going all in makes a lot of sense.
I like this play a lot. And now you're Danny. You've got...
You don't even have the nuts anymore, but he calls.
Called pretty quickly, and will chop it up.
I guess with Danny, you can reasonably expect to win one of the two boards.
His hands are probably... You figure you're going to win half the pot a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, the problem is, you put in 1.4 to win something like $450 out of that pot, which is like, so you have to really be...
You could
be right.
You could really be losing both boards there.
It's hard to imagine you're ever winning more than half the pot. Almost ever.
Yeah.
And when you're losing both boards, this is of course one of the interesting challenges / problems with this game that people are still, including myself, really thinking through and trying to figure out is, what kind of hands should you be calling with on rivers when people shove for 3x the pot and you think the best you can ever do is win half the pot pretty much ever?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a game that you should probably play conservatively if it's going to be once every orbit.
Yeah. Agreed. Looks like we're going to play it twice this orbit, though. Looks like we're going to play a second.
I guess we got to play it aggressive now.
Second bomb pot.
Sickness.
My plate just deepened. 2 bomb pots in a row.
It's great. I don't know. We may eventually do another all bomb pot session. I could see it happening. I can feel it coming.
I forgot we did that.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
It was mental gymnastics.
It was hard, but it was fun.
Am I really going to call 450 to chop?
Ace 4-4. That's kind of a fun hand.
With nut hearts there for Mustache. Misses everything on the first board.
I mean, he has an overpair. That's pretty
Okay,
good.
that doesn't count. Deuce 9-6 on the second board with 2 diamonds. Not a whole lot going on for Mustache anyway.
You'd like to at least get a heart draw on one of the boards if you're only going to have an overpair.
Yeah, I don't think this is enough to put any real money in anyway. If someone wants to bet $10 or something, he could call. Looks like Danny's going to bet more than that, though.
Yep, on you. Danny bet.
We'll never know what he has, though.
Danny bets maybe 40?
Looks like 40.
All right, well, we're just getting this all in. It's very challenging, as you can see, for the production crew here with these double boards and the repeating bomb pots. There's a lot going on.
Mamba's got like sort of something on both boards, but in this scenario, not a very good hand.
Yeah, and he already folded as a recognition of that. And I don't know if we're going to... some other cards are coming in. It's exciting.
I love it. It looks like Danny might just win, though.
Yep. Just takes it down.
End our misery. Thank you.
Top 3 and the flush draw on the bottom.
Oh, and the flush draw too?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. I had a bunch. But
Back to Pergaha.
you're somebody that I don't want to fuck with.
I think we're probably done with the bomb pots for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, usually we do one in orbit. Maybe they had missed one or something. Sometimes that happens, so they try and make up for it by doing 2.
There's a light right there.
Right, because if you don't get your gambling quota, then you die.
These guys are not here to,
Play no limit hold'em.
Well, that's an interesting response you make there, yeah. They're not here to just, watch the horses run. They're here to put some money on it.
Or be one of the horses.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to it.
I could outrun a horse
Of course you can.
if it was, dead.
Or just hobbled,
Sure.
and you had robotic legs.
I
Mustache
could
gonna
outrun a lot
limp.
of things with robotic legs.
Mustache gonna limp. The 6s. Just 3xing it there with the ace jack of hearts, and Stewie Younger
Feels like a call here.
It does.
There it is.
Hearts will be a problem for him, but
We've seen Danny get a little loose recently. This is a pretty loose call.
no question. At least the button is close by, and now he does get to
If you can
effectively
touch the
play
button
it.
physically with your hand, you can call with anything.
Makes it a little bit better. Well, Mustache only put in 30 bucks with those 6s. That's good because...
Ooh, big flop for Stewie.
And no one else has anything, really.
Back doors for Aldi, but yeah.
Sure.
Check, check.
It's a big flop for Stewie, but it's not like a super nutty flop because he could easily be outkicked.
He could. It's also not like a dangerous flop. Like there should be no cards you should really be afraid of on the turn. Obviously, a 6 or a 7 would be real bad.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be shocked to see a check here. He does bet. He bets really small, a third of the pot. That's fine too, of course.
probably not going to get called anywhere, though.
When you bet into 5 other players, like you're
It's
usually going to
strong.
have a pretty good hand.
You have a king most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Especially when there's still players who haven't acted on that street,
I guess you could have ace 8 once in a while.
I
Like,
guess. Or nines.
Yeah. But like ace 8 feels like the absolute bottom of
Yeah.
his range, and I don't know if he has any bluffs here. Like when you're betting
it's
into
tough
this
to
many
have,
players.
It's tough to have a bluff with that action.
Yeah. With I
But
just
that
don't
might
know.
be fine anyway.
Oh no, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you should have bluffs here. It's okay. There, when you're like 5-handed, it's okay to have no bluffs. I
It
think.
just kind of sucks. Like, every time you get called, you're like, I hope you called with king 9 pre-flop. I hope that's what's going on
Yeah,
here.
king X suited, you know.
Yeah.
But like, well, he can also like think about like if certain players call who are going to be more likely to have the like they're in the blinds, they're going to be more likely to have the king X suited
Yeah.
versus if Aldi calls who raise pre, that may shut him down
Yeah.
because he's like, well, all the kings are beating me. I expect to see store check that back and get one bet in on the river, one way or the other. You know.
It's not yours. Okay, I had yours in my hand and it flipped the.
But yeah, that board really hard to bluff on that board with that action.
Yeah.
What do I know? I'm just gonna come up.
I'll take it.
9 of spades not coming.
Aldi wants to play ace 4 off under the gun, but refuses to give in.
Here's Michael.
35.
Once again, the king of 10 of hearts makes an appearance.
I think it's probably the same one from the last hand. 'Cause
Huh.
he folded, I think. Yeah, he did. Danny's got jacks.
Aha. Yeah, you're right. That is the same one from the last hand. Danny just calls with the jacks. A lot of players are going to raise it up there. And Danny maybe wishing he put in the raise now as we're 5-handed.
Yeah, even on boards that are all below jacks, you don't really know what you're trying to dodge when you're 5-handed. It gets a little rough.
Yep. But once again, he does have position. Well, not on the table. Mamba's got position on him.
This is a perfect example of that, where 2 players have hit the board, and Danny's not going to know if they hit it in a way that beats him or has a lot of equity against him. They,
Yep.
they happen to have not. I mean, Michael has decent equity, but it's not great.
Still, Danny's playing this pretty straightforwardly as of right now, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, you can't really check when everyone checks to you.
Mustache going to try with middle pair.
Michael has a really easy call as well.
Michael could raise, actually.
He could, but with top, and
Yeah,
he probably doesn't need to.
it just removes a lot of the vulnerability of his hand.
That's for sure. King of spades comes in, and that is going to be to no one's loving.
Danny
Danny's got the
likes
spade
it
at least.
okay, but he's got to be worried that other people have made flushes at this point.
Again, betting into this many people, and a spade comes, you can't feel great about it.
Might be able to bet for value on the river, depending on what the river
Yeah.
is.
Let's see.
Nope.
Well,
Michael makes 2 pair, an uncomfortable 2 pair.
yeah, all the draws. Not all the draws. Most of the draws come in, and they check to Danny, who I gotta believe is going to check back most of the time here, right?
I don't see any value in betting, so yeah, neither does Danny.
You could bet to try and fold out a bad ace, but what ace even could be there?
Yeah.
It's always going to be aces up, right?
I guess
Ace 6.
Yeah, ace X of spades makes a flush, so it's not that.
Yeah, it's got to be ace 6. Maybe we
Yeah.
can fold that ace 6 if we bet big enough. Like
it's not
that's-
worth going for.
Jacks are going to be good enough at the
Yeah.
time there.
Is there river action? Yeah.
Nice hand. I forget his name. Which
There's a straddle on the button.
Michael.
Juice in the game.
By the way it got thrown in there, I'm going to say that was wheel.
Yeah, that had a wheel element to it.
Didn't it?
I agree. Although I thought that was Dan's position, but I could be wrong.
Well, we'll know soon.
At least somebody besides Brittany dressed up.
Hey,
Yeah, last time Stuart
Do
had that
not look
sweater with all the
haggard
paint
like I
stains.
did.
Michael's turn with ace 4 off under the gun, we think.
Paint swirls.
Even though he's slick with the sheen of victory from the last hand. Still, he's probably going to fold.
Slick with the sheen of victory.
Designer math.
You just
Yeah.
made that up?
Yeah.
You know, it's both good and terrible at the same time. I like it.
Thanks. Looks like we got a straddle from Aldi.
No, he's calling the button
Oh, because
straddle.
there's a button straddle, of course. You're right. And you're right. It was Dan who put the money in.
So Dan has wheel type hand motions. That's what we've learned.
Yeah.
It's important.
I wonder which
information.
one of them is going to feel good about that, which one's going to feel bad. Nothing for
They
nobody.
might both feel good or both feel bad.
I like that Dan's going to bet here. He has
25.
a complete wide open range.
Aldi's calling.
got
What? the-
Overs and the backdoor flush draw, and that's a great card for Aldi. he might just lead, but he chooses
I'm
not
not
to.
so sure about that call though.
I don't. Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. Dan's gonna bet again. Dan is now saying, "I'm the guy who has a 4, much more than you do." If you're Aldi, we can't fold now.
You can't really check raise either because Dan's, like you said, his range is wide open.
Well, everybody misses.
Does Dan have the chutzpah?
If he does, it's an easy victory.
Unless Aldi takes a shot. Nope.
Aldi checks again, clearly in give-up mode, it seems.
We rarely see Dan triple barrel. He only does it against Snuggie.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him just give up here. Although you could probably get a 6 to fold a lot, but he does check back.
Queen high is going to be good.
$200 pot almost. And
Dan feels unhappy and embarrassed.
Yeah. That 7 does, complete some draws.
So I guess the answer is Wheel would feel bad that him and Dan have the same hand motions after that hand.
That's right. Wheel's sitting there looking like, can you believe this guy?
Yeah.
How does
I thought we shared a lot here, but I definitely wouldn't have played the hand like
How
that.
did he not barrel the river?
No, he would have raised that.
Mustache going to be straddling the button here.
Cap.
The
Do you want
situation.
with the button strap
Plus,
You want to stack it?
they,
on the shit board?
we had 30%
No.
more
You're
than
good, okay.
what their projected was supposed to be of players. Yeah. It was the biggest WPT, including any online event. So.
It's like Stuart's really taking in that information.
Stuart loves taking information. That's one thing I know about the guy.
Not for
Yeah.
one.
Some people love data entry. He loves data reception.
Yeah.
No. I thought I
You ever
was
see
like
Stuart on the street, just start giving him numbers, like
Yeah, I guess I should do that. I forgot. he
Code.
wasn't in Detroit,
stuff like
so-
that, yeah.
That's why they call her.
Don't worry, I won't play another hand for a half hour.
Brittany's a nickname. Brittany Beach.
Florida.
Called down by Queen.
Danny with the Digital Dan special, the 4 deuce.
Everybody loves playing the 4 deuce. We've already seen Stuart play it
I'm pretty sure we've seen
very
it played
successfully.
nearly every time this session that
Yeah.
people have been dealt it.
It's weird because, there's no
There's no incentive.
there's no incentive at all except, some you get to turn over the hand and say, ha
Because
ha.
it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's a Digital Dan hand.
So Danny min raised to 40 with the 4 deuce.
Well, he's going to flop a pair, but Mustache is going to flop a better pair.
Danny continues. Mustache has to call this bet. Has to.
He doesn't have to do anything.
Well, apparently he disagrees with you.
Didn't mean he had to just because he did. I don't know if you understand the logic.
Mustache picks up a gutter on the turn. Good card for Danny to keep firing here, right? He could have hit the jack.
Well, he checks
pretty
it back.
easily. Because he
Tries to
actually has a pair.
Realize the showdown value. 8-10 got there.
Yeah,
Mustache
spades.
could have a spade draw.
You could charge the spades, but it's okay to check
No,
this
I know.
back.
Check it forward, you mean.
Ooh, I like
Out of
that.
position.
Oh yeah, we're not checking it back, are we? Mustache gonna bet with his draw, and now Danny puts himself in a slightly tough spot. Oh, 125 also makes sense, but it's a lot. And now are we really gonna call it bottom here? I mean, spades aren't there yet. We're beating 6-8 also. That's it, right?
I'm a little perplexed at Mustache's bet, actually. He has showdown value, and the draw isn't really that powerful. But, it's worked out great so far. He's ahead.
He also now gets to just check back the river without having improved. And had he improved, he could have, bet again with a bigger pot. You never really know where you are in that spot, but then you get to turn over your hand and they throw their hand
And
away.
then you know where you are.
Then you know where you are, Grant.
You're in Moneyland.
That's what they call it, Grant.
And we're back. Welcome back to Moneyland.
It's the new show,
Yeah.
new poker show on Poker Guys channel.
It's like a knockoff Billions. It's called Moneyland.
It's called Thousands. Hundreds.
It's about an auto repair shop. They make good money, but we're not talking venture capital here.
Same cast as Billions. by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. Paul Giamatti is excellent as mechanic number 2.
He doesn't. No speaking part.
No,
but still.
but you can tell he's got that Giamatti-ness to him.
Yeah.
You know?
It all plays. He's playing perfectly to the camera.
He's basically the same character. It's actually canon to Sideways, but later in his life.
Mike Dentelli's
Sure.
up there
But
too.
no speaking
I
lines,
don't
of
wanna
course.
be compared to Mike Dentelli.
Stu Younger will call with the 6-5 off.
He's also a dick.
How about
Younger
the
here to
Sean
play.
Kelly guy? He sounds
Oh,
like a
yeah.
farmer.
And to make friends, though.
He does outflop Dan. Fully expect Dan to continue. Dan checks it back, interestingly enough.
Maybe he thinks King High is just good enough showdown value.
It's the kind of board you expect Dan to mostly bet, but not that time. Stuart has a really easy check again. Maybe these guys are just going to check it down. I guess not. Well, Stuart's got a pair and a gutter. The way Dan's playing it, it looks like he's got 2 10s here or something.
Some such hand. I don't think Stewart could possibly fold, though.
I mean, for $30, there's nothing to consider except... I mean, I guess you could decide to raise to get Dan to fold those medium pairs.
That wouldn't be
But-
a terrible idea.
But it's hard to imagine Dan has a non-showdownable hand here, or a hand that's we're actually beating.
Stewart raised.
He does raise.
It's kind of cool. He
think
does. He has equity against almost everything,
Yep,
and you can fold out those types of hands.
yep. And what's Dan even going to do with a hand like ace 8?
He probably calls once. That's the tough part.
Mm-hmm. Now we have to decide what we want to do with Stuart.
Yeah.
Dan lets it go.
But I like the thought process that you and Stewart had there.
Yeah.
Coleman,
That's more Stuart than mine. I'm going to give him almost all the credit for that thought process.
You guys didn't collab on that one?
Nah, not that time.
Okay.
I am always, like typing into a thing and it's tapping out Morse code on his ankle, of course.
I know COVID has happened since then, but remember Mike Postle did happen, so maybe we shouldn't
Oh,
make those jokes.
yeah. I actually forgot about all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't make any of those jokes. I don't know. Not to worry. This is all pre-recorded. Like we're putting the commentary on. This is already all done. We're not doing the commentary live. So, like they filmed this, and now we're doing the commentary.
Yeah.
Just so that's clear. But you're right about the Mike Postle thing. I don't think that guy was guilty.
Judge didn't.
I mean,
Somehow.
Mike Postle gave up on all his suit stuff, which cost him a lot of money. So he knew he was in trouble. Anyway, Wheel's got queens. We haven't really seen Wheel play a hand this episode.
Oh, 45.
I get called out for it all.
Man, it feels like a different era, the whole Mike Postle
It
thing.
does.
Just because COVID happened in between, I guess.
It's been a solid 2.5 years now, hasn't it?
It might have just been like 1.5 years, but I think it happened like right before COVID.
No.
No?
Way before.
Okay. Maybe you're right.
To make the statement,
I would say a solid year before COVID.
poker,
Anyway, here we go.
poker world is somehow
Wheel
more
effectively up
ethical
against
than
Ace
sports
King
betting
here
world is
with Danny
fucking
and Aldi.
ridiculous.
That's
in
an
the hand.
interesting way to put it.
There's
I guess if you're against Ace King, you don't have to worry if 3 threes hit the board.
in every
That sounds
corner
great.
of both of those worlds. But
As I said,
until
effectively up against
Yeah.
Ace King. I did not
Oh, yeah.
say
Yeah, because
up
if
against
3
Ace
threes
King.
hit the board.
appealed a few years ago,
That'd
Wheel's
be
gonna
great. That'd be
bet here.
good, effectively.
Let's see how much he bets. He bet 75 into
the better trust the
150,
bookie to pay him and the
140, yeah.
to pay him.
And Aldi calls with the Ace 10. He's got the gutter. Danny with top pair.
Now,
I expect a
granted,
call
poker,
from Danny, although an
it's
uncomfortable.
It's
easy
not
for people to
great
pay money
as
after
a
every
spot,
hand,
but probably just can't fold top pair yet.
But again, I mean,
Boy, a
poker, you don't have
queen
to worry
would
about
be
those.
really bad for Wheel unless the board pair's on the river, because that makes Aldi the nuts.
Indubitably.
And it wouldn't be the queen of diamonds because Wheel's got that in his hand.
Betting world is the more ethical
Sick
world.
point.
That is a diamond. That's good for Wheel.
Aldi and Wheel are both going to be emboldened by that card.
Still, I don't know that Wheel's going to bet again into these two players who both called him on
You
the
picked
flop.
up a straight draw and a flush draw. I mean, you could fold out kings now. I think this is a bet.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Danny's hand is going to fold if you bet. And plus, you picked up equity. I think I like a bet.
Well, let's see what happens now.
story is
Danny could very reasonably check again, because if Wheel had a hand like King Queen or Ace King,
I actually
Wheel
would,
probably checks the
I
turn.
don't like that Danny's betting here.
You think it's hard to get value,
Yeah.
right?
If Wheel folds queens, it kind of proves why I don't like.
Well, I
betting
mean,
here.
all these behind Wheel also, though. Like,
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for Wheel to fold.
But Aldi doesn't have queens in his range. So what are you?
No, but
trying to-
Aldi could have a king in his range.
which is not good for Danny.
That's for sure.
right.
But Aldi could have like Ace Jack and decide to call here too. Would he? I don't know why.
I wouldn't call with Ace Jack.
I wouldn't either.
I don't think that's a good bet.
Queen
from
10
Danny.
comes in, diamonds come in.
I need to see.
I'm not sure since you can't get called by queens, and we think ace jack is folding also, which is effectively the same as queens.
Yeah.
And those are both effectively 1 pip down because you're chopping with all the bad kings anyway. 1 and 2 pip down.
Maybe you think you get to fold out king queen sometimes, but I don't really think you're folding out king queen.
King queen, right?
That'd be cool if that happened.
Yeah.
No,
You weren't good.
I mean,
But that is asking a
that's
lot.
still pretty fucking bossy.
King queen may feel obligated to call.
One of them was the queen of diamonds.
I don't know. Maybe not.
That guy's my hero.
Really, I thought that.
But then we're saying it's a bluff.
I mean, not
It doesn't feel like it's a bluff.
Did not seem like a bluff.
You already know you're not getting called.
Oh, I only had a king. I didn't have diamonds. But.
Let's say
I thought he had it.
the EV of making the
20 to
offer.
go.
Boy, the board got crazy though. The board went from whatever to straights come in, flushes come in, and full houses come in.
Yeah.
That story.
Yeah.
If you're the guy
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The odd part being that
Is this?
that story didn't come to life.
And just folds to
We've
Stewart.
probably told the story privately a million times.
Do you think they're afraid of him, or do you think they respect him? Which is it?
Stuart doesn't want me to answer.
And how do you know that? From the Morse code thing on your ankle?
No, I won't answer because I'm afraid of Stuart.
Oh, okay. I respect him too much to answer.
I see.
I think those are off.
Danny's going to straddle the button.
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
I think you
Dan-
pulled
Danny's
20
in for
back.
30 on the bomb pot.
Oh, yeah.
No, he's not because it's a bomb pot, it looks like.
Shots.
20.
It's a bomb pot, right?
Can't straddle in a bomb pot.
Really helps people
Why not?
Mamba could bet blind. That would be a really bad idea.
That's the closest thing we can come up
Yeah.
to a straddle. Really bad idea, except once in a while when it will end up amazing.
Yeah, like 1 out of 1,000 times.
Probably a little better than that, but I feel you.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Anyway, here we go. Buckle up.
Oh no, I just put out a button straddle. So I had 20 out there already.
5 deuce ace rainbow
Not much for Mamba on that board.
and jack 10-6 with 2 hearts.
I mean, he's got a little bit on both boards.
Not really enough to be interested, I think, in either board.
And they're still gonna get it done.
Ace King 7-6
Not
is
a
an
whole lot either.
okay-ish hand.
Not really.
Ace Queen 10-7 is an okay-ish hand also.
Not a lot happening. Does anyone have a 10? Okay, Stewie Younger with trip 10s at least.
But yeah.
And a nut flush draw on the bottom.
But that,
And he's got top pair on top.
It's pretty good.
It's okay.
Danny's got 3 9s in his hand.
I mean, just imagine if it went 9-9, bro.
That would be sick.
So it's wheel with the queen jack of spades.
So he's got the top pair on the bottom, and he's got the royal flush draw on top.
Yeah. So he's got 33% equity.
And a 5.
Mustache has top 2 on top, and a gutter to Broadway on the bottom, and a 6 also.
Stewie's going to call. He does have actually a royal flush draw on the bottom, along with
Drug
trips.
test.
And he has a decent top pair, which is very rarely good on top.
Didn't consume
Yeah.
enough alcohol in the
But you can
24
see where
hours
there's a
prior.
lot of good things that can happen for him. Any ace, any queen, he's going to feel very strongly about his hand. Obviously, jack would be a problem, but still,
I'm gonna let go of
go
this.
with all the nut draws on top
Dan with nothing for nobody.
and top pair on the bottom.
Aldi with an unknown hand.
The most exciting,
The wild card.
the most dangerous hand. And it's
A
spades
flush.
come in and clubs come in.
So nuts for wheel on top.
Yeah, and well, Mustache has the second nut flush on the bottom, and Stewart has the nut flush on the bottom.
Nobody with a full house unless Aldi has a full house.
Right, which he might.
Wheel should just bomb this. He's got the nuts in one spot.
Yeah, win the whole pot a lot.
And he does bomb it.
Oh, wow.
2x pot. I like the play.
Now, as Mustache, you had top 2 on one board, you've got the
He
second
let
nut
go.
flush on the other, and you got to let it go.
I think Stewie has to let it go too. His good hand is not even close to the nuts on the bottom. It's a paired board. He does block the 10. That helps. But I don't think it's good enough.
It's just, it'd be nice to have a slightly better hand on top. So that way if Wheel could accidentally beat you on top when he's just trying to win the whole pot with
Right.
a super strong bottom. But having the 10 does block the full house, like you're saying. Wheel didn't announce himself with jack at any point, really, which we might have seen.
I don't think Stewart would be considering this if he didn't have a shot to win the top. A little bit of a shot.
It'd be 1.1 to win effectively $250 from Stuart's point of view here.
Yeah, there's no way he wins both.
Almost never. Right. Almost never. So that's the problem.
We would have to be
He's got to
doing
win
this
like,
with the second nut flush on the bottom and have nothing on top.
Stuart needs to win the bottom like 80% of the time just to break even on this call.
This can't be a call.
You show 'em one red one like this.
Is it really worth it? 1.1 to win effectively $250 because they'd be chopping that $500 pot of what's really in the middle.
I think that blocker is really calling to him.
He does call.
Wow.
Ten of spades.
Well,
I just got
he's going to get to win the bottom.
flush on top.
You got on the bottom.
You got the bottom.
Yeah, that seems a little like he's out on a safari there, you know?
I think he wouldn't have called without the blocker.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
Not hand, sir.
I'm sure that's true.
Nice call.
And maybe he wouldn't have called if he didn't have a reasonable top pair on top that could bail him out sometimes.
Right.
If I would've shot
Like Will turns over like 2 jacks. He's like, well, I got jacks here.
Yeah.
But once in a while, Will's got a weird 2 pair on top and has the full house on the
Yeah.
bottom, and you're just busted.
Yeah.
Like when Will does 1.1, you figure he has the nuts in 1 or 2 spots. Right?
Yep.
Has to either be almost
So, but really, that means it's usually just going to be jack when you have a 10 in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So that's the good news anyway. There's like 3 combos of that.
But like you
Helps
said,
a
he could have
little.
a janky 2 pair on top.
Yeah. But if he doesn't have the jack, then you're probably okay, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's talking about straight flush.
Most of the time.
It's a risky call.
I mean, he could also have a 10 in another card. Like,
Yeah.
we have a blocker. There still are that.
yeah, the
there are
blocker
those.
doesn't mean there's no chance.
The thing is Wheel going to bet 1.1K with like 10 jack when there are better hands out there. When he doesn't have the nuts, I'm not sure.
I only paid
I'm not sure until into 500. I
I
don't
mean,
know
if he
he's
also
doing
has a flush on top, it's possible.
if he has a flush, but if he has a janky 2 pair,
Right, but he could have a flush on top and jack 10 on the bottom.
sure. Well, then that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Looks like we're doing another bomb pot. We're doing double bomb pot action apparently.
Double board, double bomb pot.
Sounds good. You can see there's a lot to think about and talk about with these spots, which is
If you have the if you have the 10 of
Guys are
spades,
above me.
in a heads up spot, it's a call.
It's easier.
All right.
I'm just
all
not
right,
saying that they're
all right,
equal.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair. But I will say.
there's the first board. Here comes the second
Definitely
one.
not now. Definitely he won't now.
Queen 10, king with 2 clubs on the bottom.
Your self-analysis is way too on point.
Just not going to say the top board. You're
No.
going to say the bottom board only.
Jack 8-3, rainbow on
I just
top.
don't understand the lack of consistency.
There's a reason for everything. It's going to check through, and we're going to see a jack and an 8.
Well, that's a pretty good
Well,
board
look at
for
Mamba.
on both spots.
Mamba's got a pretty good hand here. He also has hearts as well for the bottom.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
I was just showing that example.
I wish I had my new card holder out.
Yeah, you got to feel very comfortable with your hand right now as Mamba.
Oh, I bought it in Vegas. It's a fucking
There are
like this.
things that you're always losing to, of course.
Down on it, it says fuck you.
You could be losing in both spots, but you have hope everywhere.
Yeah. You have hope, and you also have outs. Like, even if you're losing on the top
Looks like
board-
Mamba
Oh,
folded. That must be.
That feels like a mistake. Not on a
Incorrect.
$60 bet. That doesn't seem possible. I can't believe that's what happened.
I don't know what happened, but it wasn't that.
There's no way Mamba folded for $60.
She tried pretty trying to
We think,
manipulate
okay, now we can see that there's a showdown, and all these turning over his hand. That's all we know.
This is why we don't do 2 of these in a row,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
this is a disaster.
That's what I meant.
Looks like Aldi made a flush,
I meant open for
and I can't tell what else is. King 8 as well. Whoa. It's getting crazier.
Let's pretend that never happened.
Well, it gets pushed up probably to Mamba, right? It's probably not Danny. It's probably Mamba and Aldi.
Instead of talking about that, let's talk about the movie The Terminal featuring Tom Hanks.
You know what? Underrated.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is a revelation.
Steven Spielberg directed that movie, and it didn't do well, and it doesn't look like it's a good movie. But actually, it's not great, but it's pretty good, and it has a very moving ending.
Shit, Brian.
And true story, based on a true story.
You broke a light earlier?
Crazy enough. Really happened.
I mean, probably not the romance part.
I mean, you don't know. I don't know if it was true that Catherine Zeta-Jones fell in love with the guy who was stuck on the terminal, but
I think it's
Probably
very unlikely
someone
that it
did.
was. I think it's very unlikely that it was actually Catherine
because
Zeta-Jones.
no one could love a guy who's stuck in a terminal, according to Grant. They're just unlovable beings. That is
Terminal
offensive.
people suck. I hate them
We're gonna get canceled.
for saying that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Back to no limit hold'em. Thank God.
Yeah.
We needed to get back to something a little safer for our production crew.
I think this is the last hand of the old episode here.
I'm getting the nod from Esther that this is indeed the last hand. Thank you, Esther. There clearly is a straddle because Digital Dan is raising it up to 60.
Michael folds the Digital Dan, the 4 deuce. That is disrespectful. Oh, no, he didn't. Stuart has the 4 deuce. Okay. If he plays it, then the respect is restored.
He's playing it. Look at him.
Yeah, this guy wants to play.
Now, last time he just called with 4 deuce and made the play later on. Looks like this time he's going to put in the 3-bet right now.
It's just amazing to watch people like Stuart, who are analytical, smart people, just fall prey to this money-losing play for the sake of fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's cool. It's just interesting that a guy like Stuart would do it, you know?
It is interesting.
I don't think Wonka would step over that bridge.
I don't think we've ever seen him do it.
Yeah.
Digital Dan with a pretty bad hand and really
I mean,
can't
it's going to
call.
work out, right? Stuart's going to win this
Yeah.
hand. And he's going to show it for sure.
He always shows it. We've seen that so far. Just to stick the knife in a little bit. Aldi is not folded yet, but if you're Stuart, you have to assume you're mostly getting this fold out of Aldi when he just calls. 275 is so much out of position. And there it goes.
And here it comes the show.
There he is. Ha ha. Ha ha.
See you next week.
How'd that be?